7 Witness News right here on WINTV. Thank you, of course, for staying with us. Joining me on set, we have Dr. Wayne Kublasing, leader of the Reworld Movement. First time actually sitting so close to him since the hunger strikes. I'm glad to see that you're doing well, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. The battle continues. This morning, a letter was delivered by yourself and a group of your supporters, and it all goes back to the report. Now, you have condemned statements made by the Minister of Works and Infrastructure, Emmanuel George. You're stating that it was a strategic move back then to sort of corrupt the process. You also stated that the reason why it was done so that it can make changes and so forth, because you've been saying time and time again that what was said by the minister is not the case. The minister has gone on a record stating that the report has indicated that the route, I'll make it very clear, it's not so much the highway, the issue, people tend to still get it mixed up, that the route that the government chose is the better route. That is what he said. Now, I want to read a little part of the letter. I have a copy of the letter here, and I'm going to read part of it. In summary, the review has found that the viability of the Debe to Mount Desire highway has not yet been determined. Additionally, important rules and regulations in the planning process have been flouted by the planners. The review concludes that an array of significant studies have to be done in order to continue here to determine the viability of the Debe to Mount Desire highway. I'll just end there. So what you're saying, Dr. Kublasing, is that the report is not ruling out the Debe to Mount Desire section. Is that correct?
We're just saying that the government has not determined the viability of this highway.
So therefore it's a possibility that it is not.
Yes, they're saying that if you want to determine the viability of this, you need to go back to the drawing board and do a number of substantive studies in the field of hydrological report, for example, the Puch Lagoon, social impact assessment, of course, benefit analysis, and other kinds of reports and studies. And if at the end of that you determine that the highway is viable, then you may go ahead, but not after that. In the meantime, they're saying all roads should stop.
All right, so let's go back to the statement by the minister. I want to get this very clear. Now, this is a statement, but your concern, your group concern has always been that this section of the highway is not viable to actually have that highway pass through. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're saying that more studies must be done before they go ahead with this process. In this report, the minister is saying that there were 3 points that he raised where they said it very clearly that the government route, even though they're still, doing some tests and so forth, that the report stated that the government route, the route chosen by the government, is the better route. Can you tell us here this evening if that is so, based on what the minister said?
The minister read the executive summary of the report, and in the executive summary, there is a record of how the government came to choose that route. In 2007, 2008, Trinity Plan conducted studies of 3 alternative routes, and they found that was a superior route. So what the minister is quoting from is a Trinity Plan study. That is not the recommendation of the Highway Review Committee. He's basically commenting and reporting on the superior route selected by the Trinity Plan surveyors. So that is not...
Which was back to 2007.
2007, 2008.
All right. So why would the minister put his neck out? And I'm asking because the public will ask, why would he stick his neck out, his reputation and all of that, if it wasn't true?
Well, it's difficult to understand the minister's way of thinking. It might be that he wants to infect the public mind with his ideology, so to create doubt and muddy the waters. Or it could be simply that he misinterpreted the report. He went too fast to read the report and he misinterpreted it, or maybe somebody interpreted it for him, and he basically took that report to cabinet and they misunderstood it.
Now, the report was, again, was supposed to be made public. What is the latest development with that, based on your information that you received?
A whole lot of confusion and exasperation, because it still has not been officially published by the JCC. Although it received this report from the writers of the report, a team of 19 scientists and professionals led by Dr. James Armstrong, a whole month ago. and it was a completed report in the mind of Dr. Armstrong and the reviewers. This was a completed report. It said so, a final report. He signed the cover letter, sent it to the JCC, and up to now they haven't published it. And that is because Dr. Carson Charles has been writing them letter after letter, missive after missive, asking them to soften the language and change the content and add addendums and do editings and so on. Our point of view is that report ought not to be touched by anyone. It is the report of a scientific team of independent thinkers. They have published it, and it should be left alone. And in the event that the government has problems with it, is dissatisfied with it, find there are even major flaws with it, the government has access to a lot of media to publish separately, not together with the report, their views and their dissensus.
Have you received any sort of word from the Prime Minister to get some clarification as to when the report will be published, or anyone?
That's within control. It is within the control of the JCC.
Well, any confirmation?
What is happening is there is some kind of curry favoring happening. The government wants the JCC to curry favor on its behalf to suit its agenda. That is delaying the report.
That's a strong allegation.
Well, it is true. It's absolutely true. I've been communicating with the JCC. I've been communicating with Dr. Armstrong. And we have reports of missive after missive being sent by Dr. Carson Charles to them, begging and appealing them to change certain aspects of the report.
So are you saying here this time that it's being doctored?
Well, it depends on the writers of the review. You know, whether they themselves will shake or whether they will stand their ground. I trust that they will stand their ground, and I think Dr. Armstrong should stand his ground. But this letter was written to the Prime Minister to let him know that the report is being attacked very severely. For example, in Debo, you have Mr. Moody of NIDCO going around with a microphone and a motorcade. He had a meeting on Tuesday, I think, with the High School, telling the people and basically saying that the government has a green light. So the report, even before it's published, is being attacked by senior government officials, and the Prime Minister needs to step in and take control of the situation, call her hounds in, her pot-hounds in, and say, listen, you have to treat this report with respect. We have to protect this account and this report because it has to do with accountability, it has to do with transparency, it has to do with democracy, it has to do with fair consultation processes, and it offers a template of how to approach big developmental projects.
Now, concerning this morning, did you all actually meet with the Prime Minister?
Oh, no. We didn't go to meet with the Prime Minister. She deliver the report, so she would have a sense of what's going on. She would take charge and she would make the right decision, and she would understand what's going on behind the scenes.
Dr. Goodwin, I was saying, this has been going on for quite some time. The whole debate over the section of the highway.
Oh boy, since 2005.
And there are many who are wondering now, you know, if your support is, do you still have that strong support? I mean, during the hunger strike, it was sort of back and forth. There were people who were coming and going. You know how it went. I mean, at this juncture, with so much money being spent and all of that, what is your view in terms of the way forward? Do you really see your fight bearing fruit in light of everything that has happened?
Yes, well, this struggle started by the community in 2005. So they've been struggling since 2005. That's a long time now. And government after government, letter after letter, action after action. And the people are now pretty tired. So we have to admit they've been traumatized, they're tired, many have died, they've become very tired of the struggle. I think we need to state what we are struggling for. We're not struggling to stop the Point Fortin to San Fernando highway. We want that highway. That highway has been in the cards since 1960.
I think there are many who are wondering that. Even though you have made it very clear it's this particular section, there are many members of the public who are saying, why is this man fighting this thing so hard when the government, would have done all the necessary research and it's a benefit to the public, and of course to boost the economy and so forth. Why is he fighting so hard? You know?
But I think we need to let the population know we're not against the Point Fortin to San Fernando highway. We're for that. That has been in the cards since 1960. The people want it. It's been a really little traffic in that area. That's Point Fortin to San Fernando. But there is a parallel system. And it's a parallel system which goes across the Puch Lagoon from David to Mondesir, which we're against because it crosses the Puch Lagoon and it's going to compromise the potential of the Puch Lagoon to produce food. 13 villages will have to be destroyed, 200 homes, temples, mosques, churches, and it's going to cost an exorbitant amount of money because they're going to build a huge embankment across that lagoon. It's going to take about 1.4 million tons of aggregate, which they're going to get from the Northern Range, 187,000 tons of aggregate. So it's a huge huge cost involved for the taxpayer, and they haven't finalized all of these costs yet. So it's a very destructive part of our highway, and we've suggested a rerouting option, an integrated system of road connectivity for that area.
During the hunger strike, there are those who actually made comments and say it's like David going up against Goliath. And many are asking, in this fight, what would be do you plan on continue with this fight to the end? Because people ask, okay, are you going to embark on another hunger strike? Because of what took place before. If they continue with this route, what's the next step for you and your group? Or are you at some point, if the government proceeds, are you going to just say, okay, listen, I'm going to bow out and see how it goes?
Well, the report is a very important report. It sets a standard, a template, some principles by which governments should abide, especially with large and complex projects requiring huge amount of public expenditure and which has so much ecological, social and economic costs. And the government, if it's a sensible government, and the Prime Minister, she needs to take this report seriously and she needs to obey the findings. And if she does that, and encourage, she will create a kind of transformation in our development and planning processes. I think that's the way to go forward. And we will try the next few months, as best as we can, to go to the public. We're going to have forums. Next 2 weeks we're going to have a forum at the City Hall in Port of Spain, basically explaining, it's not our point of view now, the contents of this report to the public. See, because it's a very, very important document. Their monies are involved. It's a huge question of the big contradiction in modern society is why can't we get transparency, accountability, democracy, consultation, and this sets out a kind of template for that. And we need to tell the people to own this document, to support it, and to fight for it.
All right, we're going to just take a short. We're going to come back and try and take a few calls just to get the public's perspective on this. When we come and take your calls at 665-6278. That's 665-667. Just a few calls after the break. When we come back, stay tuned.